After lunch, we had some time before our nail appointment, me and the younger aunt. And so I agreed to go sit in my second uncle's house for a while. And then I decided, like, I knew she wasn't going to say yes, probably, but I asked her just to kind of like extend an olive branch in a way, just to make her feel like, hey, everything's cool between us, like I want to include you as well. I'm not trying to like favor one side over the other. So I asked his wife, right, like my second aunt, if she would like to come up with us to get her nails done. I could tell that she was really happy that I asked her, even though she declined. I could tell from the first word that she said basically that it wasn't going to happen. But she's into like fashion and she always has her makeup done. So it was a 50-50 toss up. There was a part of me that thought maybe she might actually accept the invitation. But I think it was too sudden because like we were going to leave in literally an hour for the nail salon. But the point was not necessarily to get her to come with us on the nail date. It was a nice gesture, right? To make her feel included, make her feel like I was being nice. I was trying to invite her to do something, do an activity with us. Yeah, I felt good about that because she reacted really well. She was like, "Oh, that's so nice of you, but I can't wear nails because your uncle is scared of the color red. Like if I serve food and my nails are red, that will F him up, basically." She didn't say it like that. Obviously, she said it in Chinese in another way. But yeah, at first I was like, oh, okay, haha, that's such a funny but interesting random joke. Like, why would you? Interesting, why would you say it like that? So then we finished drinking our tea, and then my uncle, so the second uncle and the second aunt, right? This is their house that we're sitting in at this point. They walked the three of us, me and my younger uncle and aunt, to the elevators. And then so at the elevators, I decided to ask her again because, like, at this point, I'm kind of intrigued. Like, was she serious about my uncle not letting her paint her nails? Is that even a thing? I never thought about the possibility that my uncle would even have such a request or such a say into something that is so within the women's domain, right? Within the feminine domain. Like, why would he even care if his wife had her nails done? It better not be some sort of like controlling BS. This is my Western feminist mind jumping in immediately. But I asked her again while we were at the elevators. I was like, "Hey, are you sure? You should totally come with us and get your nails done. It can just be us three girls. It'll be like a girls' date, Don't you think that would be nice? Like if you don't have anything else to do this afternoon." Again, she's really happy. She has this big smile. She's like, "Oh my god, like I can tell she's just really happy that I asked her to do something because I'd never asked her before if she wanted to get her nails done with me. It's always just with my younger aunt or with my cousin." And she was like, "I really appreciate it, dear, but like not this time. If I want to get it done in the future, I'm going to do it sneakily when your uncle is not watching." Apparently, she told me that she also uses press-ons from time to time. I don't know. I thought for sure that because she's a very, like I said, she's very into fashion. Like she likes to wear nice clothes, always has her makeup done, always has lipstick, full face of foundation, powder on. And so I thought it was not such a big stretch for her to have her nails done. But yeah, so later on, I don't remember exactly when. I think I was just eating dinner. So this is after I had gotten my nails done with my younger aunt, and then it's later in the day and I ate dinner with just those two, my younger aunt and uncle, at my dad's old apartment, which is still leased until May, because he paid for 6 months rent in advance. It's like dirt cheap. It's in my grandma's hometown. Okay, in Chuzhou, China. I don't remember exactly, but when I converted the amount of money, it's like maybe less than even 1 month of rent here for my apartment in Tokyo, and I don't have an expensive apartment. So yeah, but we were eating dinner at my dad's place. Yeah, it was nice. They had a picture of him on his desk with some like fruits and stuff. And so we burned incense for my dad while we ate dinner. And then my aunt was telling me, oh, she was telling me, it's true that your uncle, she was talking about the older uncle. It's true that he doesn't like red or he's scared of the color red. Like for example, there is this dish in China. Okay, there's this vegetable. I don't know what it's called in English. It's called xiancai in China. And it's like green, but it has red veins. And so if you cook it in like a soup almost, the soup is red. It's not actually red. Now that I think about it, like it wouldn't be the red of my lips right now. It's more like purple. But anyway, in Chinese, it's all considered red. And so She was like, "Yeah, your uncle, the older one, not the younger one, your uncle can't eat red food, like, it scares him. Do you know why? It's because, and now don't come in here with child protection services BS. We are talking about communist China, okay? My grandparents raising 4 boys in communist China, trying to make sure that the family doesn't starve. Like this is not ABUSE or whatever is it is defined by Western terms. It's not child ABUSE. This is just some savage shit that all Chinese grandparents from that generation were on. But apparently, when my uncle or when my dad, when all of them were younger, my grandparents joked to my older uncle. I don't know if it was what dish exactly it was, but any dish that they had where it was a red soup, they would joke to my older uncle that, oh, this is your younger brother. Like, we cooked your younger brother because we didn't have enough food to eat. Like, we didn't have enough, groceries, or we didn't have enough ingredients or food for the family. So we had to cook your younger brother in order to feed you guys tonight.
Emotional damage.
You can imagine this is kind of, I mean, depending on the child, this would not have worked on me, okay? But this traumatized my older uncle. That's the reason why apparently he's like legitimately scared of red in his food, at least. I don't know. I mean, I don't think he could function in society, just in regular life, if he was scared of red in general as a color, but definitely in association with food. This is why he can't eat that dish, the xiancai with the red soup. And so I had never heard this story before. Now, that would not have worked on me. Okay, I don't care. Like, my grandparents definitely were the OG savages, but I mean, if they said something like that to me, I would be like, oh, well, that's a shame, because I guess that this dish is just going to be a one-time thing then. It's a shame that it's so delicious, because I would have liked it if you could make it a regular occurrence, or if you could cook it again. But if it's like cooked from the blood of my younger cousin or something, right? That's the way that they would say it to me, then I guess you can only cook it one time because there's only one of her. That would be my response, because like I'm a savage too. But yeah, apparently my uncle was not at that level yet when they were joking about this. And so he was traumatized by that. And because of that, I guess out of respect for her husband, and this is what I would define as like true feminine submission, not the negative connotation that a lot of people try to latch onto, but this is to me a really good example of true feminine submission, or like what a woman brings to the table, so to speak, like the sacrifice that a wife makes for her husband. You think about it. I honestly think, yeah, like my second aunt, his wife, she's a very stylish woman. She always makes sure that she's pulled together, and so nails are just a natural extension of that. But the fact that she is considerate enough of, like, it would be easy to, if I didn't know the backstory about my uncle being traumatized by my grandparents into not being able to eat food of the color red, it would have been easy for me to jump to the conclusion that, oh my God, like, what do you mean he doesn't let you wear red nail polish, or he doesn't let you wear nail polish in general? That's so controlling. Like, you're an independent woman, you're autonomous, you should be able to wear whatever you want. F what your husband says, all of that, like Western style feminism. But after hearing the story, I was kind of touched. I thought that was actually really sweet. The fact that, and we don't know whether or not, maybe it's true that she never cared about nails that much in the first place. But I did hear, no, she did say in during that conversation in their living room, she did say that, oh, from time to time, like, I will use the press-ons if I feel like I want to complete my look or something. So she does like nails, right? Like, it would be sensible to conclude that if my uncle didn't have this huge hang up about like red nails or red things in his food, near his food, anything like that, it would be logical to conclude that my aunt would also regularly go out to get her nails done, right? Like, it's not expensive in China. It's a really nice, it's just like a nice, normal, feminine thing that lots of women, especially those who are into aesthetics like me, like my aunt, like to do. But the fact that she would sacrifice that, not sacrifice even, but like, willingly do, lovingly do, like lovingly give that up and not see it as such a big deal because she knows that my uncle, I'm sorry I'm laughing. It must actually be real if it's serious to the point that my aunt is saying that she literally cannot have red nails or else my uncle will freak out or get sick when he sees her serving food. And so, yeah, I just thought that was really sweet of her to take that seriously, and to deny herself, to say that, you know what, as your wife, even though it would be really fun for me, it would be something that I would enjoy to get my nails done, I'm going to forego this pleasurable experience, like this surface level experience, because I know that you have trauma from seeing red nails or seeing red near your food. And I just thought that it was like such a unique, perfect example of what a real feminine woman like brings to the table, so to speak, using today's jargon. And yeah, I just thought it was really sweet and touching. I'm gonna cut that story out later. I don't know what I'm gonna call it, but like what the true feminine brings to the table. This is what like actual submission, or I don't know, this is what respect, submission to your husband looks like, right? Like not making fun of him, not ridiculing him. Because I just told you, if it was me, if my grandparents tried to pull that ish on me, I would laugh in their face. I think they actually did. Like I have a vague memory of when I was a kid as well. I am 98% sure that either my grandpa or my grandma, perhaps both, said to me at some point that, oh, we cooked your younger cousin to make this dish or something, like this meat here, this is your cousin. Oh my god, like the memory is unlocking as we speak. And I remember I was not going for it for even half a second, okay? Because I am Year of the Snake. I forget what my uncle is, but yeah, apparently as a kid, he did not have as strong of a countenance as I did. And so he was actually traumatized by that. And like, okay, it makes sense, the difference in time period and environment as well. Like I think when I was a kid, I already knew what was up, right? Like I was born in America. We already had airplanes and cell phones and stuff by that time. So you can't really get anything over on me. You can't pull the wool over my eyes. But I think when my uncle, like when my dad and his brothers, that generation, when they were growing up, things were actually a matter of life and death on the daily. Like it's something that I would never be able to even imagine the high stakes that they lived with every day. And so I can kind of see how something like that, it's very dark humor, right? It's like dark adult humor that as a child of that time, I can see how that would mess with your brain a lot because they legitimately did not have meat to eat. They would eat meat like once a year or 3 times a year or something like that because they just simply could not afford it. It was those types of circumstances. And so I can see how under that circumstance, you might actually be really affected as a child by an adult joking that they cooked your brother so that we could have meat tonight to eat. So anyway, I just thought that was like such a unique, funny, sweet, compassionate, and yeah, unusual example of what a woman really does for her husband, like what a wife can really sacrifice for her husband. On the surface, it doesn't look all that deep, but if you really think about it, and after I heard the backstory from my other aunt and uncle, I thought it was pretty deep. Yeah, it really speaks to the unseen value that a truly feminine woman who is truly devoted to her husband is willing to do. Like these two, you can see them arguing like a typical old married couple any other moment in the day, but underneath it all, they have something like this, like the manifestation of their respect for each other as husband and wife underneath all of the quarrels that they might have as an old married couple. Another way you could phrase it is that you could say that this is one of the ways in which my aunt submits to my uncle, the way that we talk about, a wife submitting to a husband. It's a choice, it's a gift of the feminine. It's not like this loss of power that third wave feminism tries to paint it as. Because, if you think about it, it's not like my uncle is really laying down the law, like I forbid you from wearing a red nail polish. That's not really the situation. If she really wanted to, I mean, he would not be able to stop her. Of course, she could go out to the salon any time of day and get her nails done, and he would just have to deal with it. Or maybe she could just wear gloves while she's serving food. I don't know, but pretty certain that's not how the conversation went down, right? It's not like he forbid her to wear red nail polish. I think it's more like she knows that this is something that's traumatizing for him. He legitimately cannot eat food with red in it or with red soup, like anything that reminds him of blood. That's how much he's traumatized by this sick joke that my grandparents played on him when he was little. And so I think out of just her sheer compassion for that, this was largely her choice to basically give this up, like, all right, fine, it's not that big of a deal, like I don't need to have my nails painted red, I can just wear press-ons whenever I feel like having nails. But the rest of the time, when I'm like at home with him, when I'm cooking our food or serving him, I don't need to have red nails if it's that big of an issue for him. I think that was pretty much her thought process. And yeah, I think that is, it's such a cute, unusual example of the way in which the feminine really gives a gift to the masculine, and how like she's really holding that space for him, because if you think about it, it's kind of something that, I mean, I don't think anyone in my family is ridiculing him for this, but it's something that men are not supposed to be vulnerable in that way. Like you could easily, if you wanted to be an asshole, you could easily say that that's stupid. Like you're a 70-year-old man and you're still traumatized by this stupid little joke that your parents said to you when you were a kid. Like, come on, you can't be serious, right? Like just eat the food. You can't seriously not be able to separate the red color from the trick that your parents played on you. But instead of like shaming him, which seems to be the trend these days, whenever men show any sort of weakness, she understood and she had compassion and she said, all right, you know what, I'll do my part to like make sure that you're comfortable, make sure that you don't have to suffer, relive that memory or whatever he feels whenever he sees red food or red nails, red things near his food, right? I'm sure this also extends to, he probably can't use like red chopsticks. And so yeah, the moral of the story is these Chinese grandparents in communist China, okay, they were the OG savages.